Hey, what's up YouTube? Today we are going to do a video on doing drum brakes and also we're going to replace the drums, we're going to replace the actual brake shoes, and we're also going to replace the wheel cylinders on this 1997 Chevy Blazer. And we've made videos before about this particular vehicle, also surrounding the rear brakes and a lot of the problems that I've had with these rear brakes. The drum brakes on this, they hang up a lot, they grab a lot. I also think that the brake drums are also warped and ovaled, which has been causing it to, rock a lot whenever I come to a stop from the rear. So I'm gonna do what I should have just did in the first place instead of buying aftermarket cheap stuff, is actually go ahead and I'm going to replace these brakes with actual factory AC-Delco drums, as well as factory AC-Delco brake shoes. Quickly give you the part number here. The AC-Delco part number is 17514R. These are the brake shoes, so it's a little bit like Christmas here today, guys. Just got this stuff in from Amazon. So here's my new brake shoes. Always inspect them when you first get them, because a lot of times in shipping, they can get pretty beat up and they can damage the friction material on here. And if that happens, then, well, you might as well just send them back and hold off on doing your brake job. And get the packing material here. Bottled water did not come with it. I was just used it to carry it out there. Just seen a mailman trying to carry this stuff up today. I don't think he was expecting this. Stuff's pretty heavy. And then the GM part number for the drums is, we're going to go with the AC-Delco part number, which is 18B201A. There's set brake drum. And then wheel cylinders I just went aftermarket on because they're not, in my opinion, a big deal with this. They have been replaced on here before, but I have a feeling they're not working right, so we're just going to replace these too. So these are wheel cylinders from Advance Auto. I think they're the CarQuest brand because they got bought out. So the part number on those is W37854 is the number that's on them. And we're going to go ahead and replace both sides. Now I'm only going to record one side because obviously it's going to be a repeat on the other side, and I'll have 2 hours worth of video for nothing. So the first thing we're going to do here is you want to make sure you have all the tools that you need. I may end up needing more, but this is a good start. So I've got my metric sockets here. I got socket wrenches there, a 19mm socket impact so I can take the lug nuts off. I got an extension for 3/8. You can use 3/8. I also have an adapter here so I can use the 1/2 inch to give me a little bit more leverage. And got some wire cutters, that's to help get the springs off the brake shoes. Some regular needle nose pliers. This tool here, I don't know the special name for it, but it's for removing the springs that hold the brake shoes to the backing plate. This I think they call a brake spoon. I believe they call this for rear drum brakes. This is to remove the springs and to reinstall them. I got some anti-seize here. We're going to use that as well to put behind the brake shoes to make sure that they stay nice and lubricated on the backing plate so they can slide freely. Got some line wrenches. This is going to give us the better opportunity or better chance on breaking loose those actual brake line fittings there that go into the back of the wheel cylinders so that I don't round them off. Regular wrenches just in case. I got some .3 and 4 compatible brake fluid. Brand doesn't matter as long as it's, a good one. So I got Valvoline, I got some PB Blaster, some brake cleaner, which I have more in the garage if I need it, because you're going to need that to clean off the brake drums. They have an anti-rust inhibitor, which is like a grease, which if you don't remove that, you could warp and also cause hot spots on your brake drums, as well as smoking on them. Got some gloves just in case I need them. 2 magnetic dishes just in case I need them. A box because I like to lay my springs out in order so I can remember where they go. Even though I've been doing this a long time, it's still nice to have a quick reference. I'm using a 1/2 inch battery operated impact to remove the lug nuts. I also have a battery operated drill with a wire wheel on it so I can clean the backing plate up. I also have my air hose out here all ready to go because I may also use the air grinder to clean the backing plate up if there's any grooves in it, because if there's grooves in the backing plate, it'll cause your shoes to get hung up and wear into theirs, and then they won't release properly and they kind of cause popping and hanging up as well. So we're going to go ahead without further ado and get this project rolling. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to make sure that we got the vehicle supported properly, and by doing so we're going to go ahead and jack it up. Now tons of controversy around it, how this should be properly done. This is how I'm doing it. You guys do whatever you want to do. This video is just for reference. Like I said, I'm not a mechanic. I'm just a guy that's been messing with cars for a long time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to jack this up right underneath the rear differential in the center here. You want to make sure it's nice and centered. We call, a lot of times guys will call this the pumpkin. I know I'm doing it in gravel, but hey, you got to do what you got to do. Like I said, this isn't the recommended way to do. You should always do this on concrete, solid surface, so that this jack doesn't slip out on you. But I've been, like I said, doing this a long time. I'm not going to have any problems. Not to be rude or be a jerk, but I'm not an idiot, so I'm not going to have a problem doing this. So we're going to get this nice and high off the ground, because eventually I'm going to have to take both wheels off. So, alright. That should be high enough. Go ahead and get you guys on the tripod here for a minute. Okay. Now, I'm going to go ahead and put some jack stands under here because we want safety. I don't feel like eating my truck today. And just space them nice and evenly apart here. Alright, that should be good. I'm going to go ahead and do the other side as well. I'm nice and far apart so they hold the vehicle securely. Trying to wiggle it into the gravel nice and securely here. Alright, now that you know they're nice and lined up evenly, I'm going to go ahead and slowly and twist the jack and try to release it. It's probably going to just flop. Yep, which wasn't too bad. Now I'm also going to put the jack right back up there. This jack doesn't work very well, and I think it needs lubricated. It's old. I mean, it's not ancient, but it's old because I've been using it. Used the heck out of it, to be completely blunt. I'm going to put one extra little bit of a pressure with the jack on there, like that, just to give me that extra peace of mind knowing that I'm not going to eat this vehicle today. Next thing we're going to do, come over here. We're going to get comfortable because we're going to be here for a while. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to take these little decorative caps off. This particular wheel setup configuration has decorative caps. So before I do that, I'm going to get you guys set up on a tripod here so you can watch what I'm doing. And that way I'm not making you seasick while I'm putting you, setting you up. So be back in a minute, guys. Alright, welcome back, guys. We've got you set up on the tripod. I'm going to make sure your e-brake, your emergency brake is off, which mine is, so that's good. Everything looks good. So now we're going to go ahead and get these things cracked off here, these decorative caps, which are, like I said, I take them off with the impact socket by hand. That way you don't bugger up your plastic caps are cracked. And they're just there for decoration, kind of a pain in the neck, but hey, whatever makes it look good. If it doesn't look good, what's the point, right? And what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and set these aside in my little dish over here. And hopefully these just come off and they're not too tight, because I'll have to go get the air impact. So we'll try the electric first, which seems to be working good. Alright, set that aside now. Put my lug nuts in a dish there out of the way. Take the tire off here, and we're going to roll this guy out of my way. I'll keep tripping over it all day. Alright, let me make sure you guys can see alright. I mean, it looks like it's about as good as you're going to get. So, what we're going to do is we're going to remove the brake drum. Now, I know this brake drum is going to come right off because I've done previous work on this vehicle fairly recent ago, so I know that this thing isn't going to be on there. Now, you guys may not have as much of a good time getting this off of here. You may have to beat on this with a hammer, may have to heat this up, you may have to spray some lubricant in here to try to get this loose. They even sell tools, I believe, that you can remove these with. So to be honest with you, you're probably not going to have as easy of a time as I just had getting this to slide off. But anyway, this is, like I said, just an informative video to try to help you out. That's all this is about. So every situation out there is going to be different, but in my case, easy peasy, it comes right off. So there's a lot of brake dust accumulated in there, so but we're replacing these anyway. So what you have here is your basic, everyday, run-of-the-mills drum braking system. Now, this particular system here is, let me get you unplugged here. This particular system here is, you know, your typical GM brake. So you have these different springs that basically connect the shoes together to allow to pull them back into place. You have what they call a wheel cylinder right here, which enables you to, when you step on a brake, hydraulic brake fluid pushes these out like this. And it pushes these shoes out against the actual brake drum, and that's what stops you. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and start just removing all this stuff. You want to make sure your emergency brake is off too before you do this, by the way, guys, because you're not going to be able to get that brake drum off if your e-brake is on, because it's going to push these shoes against it. These shoes are actually fine, but like I said, these are off-brand generic shoes. I want AC-Delco stuff on here. I'm just absolutely beside myself with dealing with all the brake drum problems I've had with this vehicle. We're just going to put the good stuff on. I'm going to redo these wheel cylinders, even though they're not really that old. We're going to get a fresh start here. I'm going to see if we can get to the bottom of what's been causing these to hang up and be so funny on how they work. So I'm going to put you back on the tripod here, and then I'm going to just go ahead and start tearing into this. So the first thing we're going to do is we're just going to start carefully removing these springs here, and when we remove them, we're going to lay them out on the ground here. I'm going to put a cardboard box here, and I'm going to start laying them out where they go in a pattern, so that way you don't have to hunt and look for them. Now keep in mind, the other side's still together over there, so we can use that side for reference. That's going to help us out a lot as far as where to put stuff. So let me get you plugged back in. I'm going to pause you again, get you plugged in with the outlet because this battery's terrible, get you back on tripod, and I'm going to try to give you the best possible video I can with my resources. So hold up, guys. Alright, looks like we're recording again. We're going to go ahead and just start busting into this. So first things first, I got my cardboard here. I'm going to lay this under here because this is what we're going to do to catch this stuff. Normally you could blow all this up with some cleaner, some brake cleaner, and get some of the dust down. I'm not too worried about it because most of everything here is getting replaced. So we're going to start off with this little tool here that I haven't used in a while. It's got a unique end on it that is going to hopefully help me get these springs off here. If not, we'll just do it the old-fashioned way. Now be careful, wear safety glasses. These springs are under a lot of tension. They will fling and they will hurt you. So we're going to see if I can use this tool here somewhat properly to release these springs. If not, we'll just do this the old-fashioned way and use the stupid pliers like I used to always do here. So I know you guys are like, you're doing it wrong, you're doing it wrong. Yeah, I know that, but I'm just trying to get these off here right now. Been a while since I've done drum brakes, guys. Come on. Might just need to do this the old-fashioned way. Which is probably what I'm going to do, is just do this the old-fashioned way. Man, already looking like an idiot. Come on, guys. There we go. So we got the first spring off. That's usually the biggest hurdle. So we're going to lay that out in the box where it goes. And we're going to do this next spring here, which hopefully won't be such a pain. Which already is. Sure, there's an easier method for this, but yeah, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do it the way I did the other side. These wire cutters are terrible, by the way. I have to get, like I said, these are under a lot of tension, so I may have to really get up in here with this, get personal with it. Okay, second one released. Lay that in a box where it goes. And then once you do that, then this piece here, just pull forward. There's a little spring. I'm just going to plug this, sorry. A little spring right here underneath the emergency brake lever. If you take this out, usually just give it a little tug. Like that. put something behind it. And then just put this little spring aside here. And what that's going to do is allow you to pivot this to get this off. So we got that off. Set that aside in the box. And then from there, you can take this little thing off here. This is just what holds the shoes in line. That in the very center. Down in the box. Now we're pretty much, I mean, we're already halfway there. I mean, that's like I said, this is pretty easy to do. A lot of guys get scared about these drum brakes. So, back up on the tripod here, and then I'm going to take a quick peek and see what you're looking at. Looks perfect. So, now we can use this tool here, which is the part for taking these springs out here. You want to put your hand behind here and find out where it's at, because you're going to need to catch it when it decides to go. There's the spring there. I'm going to just set that aside. Well, I'm reusing these springs. They're not that old. And here's that little pin that I was telling you about right here. And that's what holds it in from behind. We're going to sit that inside that spring so I don't lose it in the box. And it's just a twisting method. Go ahead and twist that side. And as you can see, everything's already falling apart. This is what we want. And then we're going to make sure this self-adjuster lever here, this is the self-adjuster lever. Push that little pin through. Put all this stuff together so like I said, I remember where it goes. Okay. Now, the next part is you can actually pull these apart like this. And what's going to happen is behind here is this post with a spring on it. You want to keep an eye on that. That we're going to put in there too. My box, and we're going to pull this down, and boom, the emergency brake lever just comes right disconnected from it. Everything just kind of falls apart. So this is the self-adjuster, which looks pretty good, but we're going to clean it up here. I'm going to put that in the box too. Yeah, these, look at that, broken brake shoe. Look at that. It's a good thing I'm doing this. Didn't even know that was like that, so that's good. So that could be part of where my problem is here. This one here's got a crack in it too. So these things just are a mess. So we're going to put that spring in here too. I'll just put these aside. Not too worried about them. And that's pretty much it. Now I'm going to move this box out of the road. Okay, I got crap all over me already. That didn't take long. And we're going to spray this with some brake clean and get this cleaned up a little bit. Just so we have a nice clean working area so we can see what's going on. Try not to inhale this stuff. Alright, I'll just kind of let that air dry for a bit. I'm going to go behind it, do a little cleaning up too, because... Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to get in here and we're going to start working on getting the wheel cylinder off. So this can be a little challenging as well too, because keep in mind everything's going to probably be rusted and everything on here. So what we're going to do is find the appropriate socket. And I'll bring you in for a close-up. It looks like, to me, it looks like it could be a 10, but let me take a look here and see. No, it's probably like... I don't know here. We'll see here. Yeah, it's an awkward size 11. Yeah, okay. Anyways, so what we're going to do here is we're going to come in for a closer view. We're going to need to remove this wheel cylinder here. So to do that, we're going to need to go back here, and we're going to need to remove those two fasteners. That one there, and that one there. We're also going to have to loosen up the brake line. Now I'm going to loosen up this brake line first, because I want to have a good chance of this thing not sticking. So let me see if I can get you somewhere here on a tripod so you can see what we're doing here. Oh, I wish I had a camera guy. Let's see what you're seeing here. real clear, but it gives you the general idea so you can at least watch what I'm doing. So, alright. Do is I'm going to get in here and I'm going to crack these a little loose, make sure I'm not going to have any issues getting them loose. Because of rust and corrosion, sometimes you have to tap the socket on there to get it started. Good news is, I had no problem getting it loose, so that's good. We're going to go head over to the other side. Make sure it's on there because you don't want to round these off. Alright, that one's loose. So that's good. Now we're going to get a line wrench. I'll tell you what size I'm using here in a minute. Most of this stuff's been replaced already, so I can't guarantee you the sizes are all going to be the same to what you're dealing with. I think it looks like a 10, but we'll find out here, aren't we? It seems awfully loose to be a 10. It's going to be probably one of them oddball sizes that I probably won't have. We got a 9 in here too, thank goodness. Let's try the 9. 9 doesn't even come close to fitting on there at all, so we're going to say it's the 10. Try it again just to confirm. Yeah, it's definitely the 10. So now I got to figure out which way is loose and which way is tight. And I think looks like it's pretty rounded off in there, huh? It's usually not a good sign. I kind of knew I was going to have this problem. Get some penetrating fluid on that, let that sit for a minute. Yeah, I just had a funny feeling I was going to have this problem. Because the last time I did these, they started to round off when I put it back on here, so I'm not surprised. See, it's just rounding off. So what I may end up having to do, and I have a lot of brake line here, is I may end up actually honestly just having to cut this line and reflare it and put a new end on it. Because the way things are looking here is I'm probably not going to get that out of there. I'm going to get some vice grips here and try that too. So I'm going to put you on hold for a minute. Alright guys, we're back here. What happened was this nut on here that holds the brake line into the back of the wheel cylinder was rounded. It was rounded last time, so what I did, I just went ahead and cut the brake line with a hacksaw. I'm going to have to just reflare this in. I still have enough brake line there wrapped up and coiled up there that it won't be an issue. So we're just going to let this gravity bleed. That'll help keep some of the air out of it, hopefully. But we're going to go ahead and continue removing this wheel cylinder so we can get this rolling for you. So I'll set you back up here on tripod again. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing there. Yep, should be able to for the most part. And then back to removing these. So, yeah, every time you do one of these jobs, you end up running into these kind of hurdles. So, it's to be expected, guys. Hate to bust your bubble, but you probably have a problem too, especially if you have an older vehicle like me that you're trying to keep alive. Sure you don't lose those bolts. Don't lose these bolts or mess them up, because the new wheel cylinder does not come with them. Again, put these away in a safe place in a magnetic dish so they don't get lost. And might have to give it a little taparoo. And there it goes. We have one set. We have set wheel cylinder, which I can't get out because the brake line's still on it. Really? It's usually how this kind of stuff goes, guys. Always some kind of obstacle, so I don't give you a lot of room, so I just have to give it a little. There we go. And I just messed up all my springs, but that's alright, I know where they go. So, wheel cylinder wasn't really bad. Like I said, we're just replacing it anyway. So, alright, so next on the agenda is I'm going to move you again and get you plugged back in. I'm going to do some cleaning up here and get you, give you an idea what we're going to do with this backing plate here to get it prepped for the new shoes and everything. So we're going to do that next. So I'm going to turn you off again. Okay, so now we got everything, got that old wheel cylinder off. Before we install the new one, I'm going to do some cleanup here. I got a wire wheel, and just going to basically just hit it with a wire wheel and just clean this backing plate up, look for any deep grooves, and if we have deep grooves, we're going to go ahead and hit it with the air grinder too, just to make sure. So we're going to do that next, so try to figure out the best angle here to get this. I think these areas here, they call them bosses, I believe I've heard somebody call them. Eric the car guy then called these bosses. This is where, like I said, the shoes ride, and these are really rusted up, so I'm going to probably have to hit these with the air grinder. Getting there. Get all this loose junk out of here. Okay, so I can already tell one of the reasons why my rear brakes are hanging up, and it's because there has been some grooves worn into it. What happens is because the shoes are always riding in the same spot all the time, they get these little grooves on these bosses here, and they prevent the shoe from moving back and forth. It gets caught in them and it causes it to stick. So we're going to hit that with the air grinder here, but I need to first go ahead and get that out of the garage. So I'm going to put you guys on pause again. The only reason why I keep pausing is so I don't have 10 minutes of me looking for tools every 2 or 3 minutes. On a perfect roll, this backing plate is probably pretty much done. It should be replaced. It's not in greatest shape, but it's going to do for now. So we're going to go ahead and do that. So hang tight, guys, and I'll be back here to give you an update here in just a second. Alright, we're back on, guys. What I did is I got the air grinder here. We're going to go ahead and hit these bosses here with the air grinder and try to clean it up. You don't want to take too much material off or you won't be able to reuse these backing plates. Right, perfect. Looks pretty good. Alright, so that should pretty much do it. I'm just going to hit this outside real quick and kind of clean this. Clean it up a little bit there. Loose stuff off there. Alright, see if I can sneak in there. Probably not. Alright, that should be good enough. So what that accomplishes, like I said, so what this accomplished was to clean these. You can see the shiny areas. This is where the shoes ride. And we don't want these to have big grooves in them because then they won't ride properly. They'll get caught in them. Alright. So that should give us a nice, healthy work area there. Now, while that's drying, we're going to go ahead and start working on the wheel cylinders here. And then we'll have to, like I said, do some reflaring the brake lines. Because, like I said, they get them grooves in them things, and then the shoes stick. I probably took more material off than what I really should have, but you know what? I ain't perfect, so. Alright, so. Push these in. And These look pretty good, so we're going to go ahead and go forward here with these. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take a little bit of anti-seize here, and I'm just going to put it inside the holes of where these bolts are going to thread in. That's going to help kind of keep this from getting stuck in here if I ever have to change this again. So I'm just kind of put a little anti-seize and keeps it from rotting to there. Alright. I'll give it a fighting chance to not get stuck again. Alright, so my bolts in here. Let's see if I can get them to start. All I'm doing is like before, where I took the bolts out of the old wheel center, I'm just putting them back into the new one. That's all I'm doing, guys. Not much to really see at the moment. Grab my socket wrench here. Get back on tighten. Tighten this down. Now you don't want to snug these down to the point you'll never get this back off. You also don't want to snug it down to the point where you crack the new wheel cylinder, which, by the way, is very possible to do. They're only aluminum materials, so good. That's all you need to do. Okay, so now we got all that taken care of. The next step we're going to do is I'm going to get my flare tools and we're going to flare that brake line. So I'm going to get you put back on, I'm going to move the camera again, turn you off, get you set back up on tripod so you can watch me flare this, okay? So hold tight, guys. Alright guys, we're picking back up. What I did was I went and took my cut-off tool here and I spun this around on here and I cut this line so it has a nice even cut on it. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to put a new fitting on there since the old fitting had got messed up, because like I said, we're going to have to reflare this brake line since I had to cut it due to the fact that it was such a mess. So this pointy end here, you put it in here and you just kind of twist it around in here, which is not easy to do when you're on the vehicle, but what it does is gets any bores or anything out of there that shouldn't be in there that's going to cause issues with your flare. Alright, so that looks good. You know, no metal particles getting inside there. So it's always so much fun to flare these on a vehicle, I will tell you that. And I got a flaring kit here, which is actually kind of a Frankenstein flaring kit. It's a bunch of old ones put together that I've used over the years and took good pieces. And we're going to use the 3/16 size and just kind of wrap that in place temporarily for a minute so I get my 3/16 little fitting using the flat side. Oh boy, I must be doing this a lot these days because, oh, forgot something, guys. You know what I forgot? Probably all yelling, what are you doing? Got to put the fitting on there first. We need that part, otherwise we're not going to be able to even do this. So if I can get it to go on there. Oh, come on now. Line's slightly bent, and I think that's why it's not cooperating. Come on. I know this is the right size. I just took it off of a 3/16. Yeah, there's a slight bend in line, which is probably not gonna be a good thing. Straighten that out best I can. There we go. That's all we need. And just get it down far enough that the tool can get on there. I don't think that's enough yet. We need to take that back off. We got to get all the bends out of the line here so that we don't end up there. That looks nice and straight. Oh yeah, that's much better. That should be. I'm still getting caught on that little bit of a bend there. Come on. I'm probably as good as I'm gonna get it. Hopefully that's far enough so I can get the tool on there. If not, we'll have to deal with that. Alright, and it looks like it is. Perfect. Okay, now you want to use this little 3/16 thing. You want it to be just enough so it's even with the line here. This isn't going to be necessarily my best flaring video because of the circumstances we're in, but we're going to make do. I'm going to crimp these down like so. You want them good and tight because you don't want the line to slip through when you're trying to actually crimp it. Okay, that should be good enough. Alright, I'm going to put that little thing in there like that. We're going to do, I think what they call this is a double flare. I think is the nickname for it here, so. Wasn't exactly in the mood to be doing brake lines today, but that looks like it's what's going to happen. Alright, so go ahead and get that on there like so, spin it down. Alright, now this is the fun part. This is the part where you got to try to hold the line, hold the tool, and put a lot of strength into actually flaring this. The goal is when you're doing this, you don't want to bend the line up too much, because then you'll have a hard time getting that fitting back into place. Getting there. It's a lot easier. You can do this on a press, but when it's on the vehicle, it's a lot more fun. Okay, now we're going to back it off. Whew. It's like 90 degrees out here. I'm going to put my little flare piece back in, and I'm going to go ahead and run this part down. This is why I like that Nycop line, because it's a lot easier to flare Nycop than this stuff is. Alright, that should do it. That is a flare, ladies and gentlemen. Looks pretty good too. Now we're going to go ahead and get this thing off of here somehow. I didn't know this was going to be a flare video. It just kind of turned out that way. Alright. So, now, the next thing is to try to get this end here straightened back out again. It got a little bent up while I was flaring it. There. So, that is a good flare. So now we'll be able to go right into the back of this wheel cylinder here with it. Okay, let me loosen you up for a minute. Okay. Now I have, like I said, a lot of extra line here that I'm using. Should have brought a screwdriver with me. I always forget the tools that I need. It isn't a big deal. There we go. So, like I said, I had some extra line here. Okay. Now, I think that was a 10. We'll find out here in a minute. Yep. Alright, so here's a regular 10 wrench because it's just a little easier to work with. As soon as I can find it. I have a habit of laying tools down. Here it is. 10. Okay. Didn't know you guys were getting into all this today, did you? Of course, I didn't either. Okay, so now we got a 10. All I'm doing is I'm screwing this back in here. And this time, I'm going to be careful not to round this off. Now the line wrench I'm going to use to actually tighten it back up, because that way it'll get better grip on it and hopefully not round it off. Okay. That should be tight enough. Now to put that line back into the axle where it was. Alright, perfect. I always like to shoot it with a little brake clean. Alright, this little rubber thing we're going to move and take out. It's on here because this is I'm going to put this back later though. So I'm going to put that there. Now we can move on to putting the shoes back on. So I'm going to pause it again and get you set up for that surveillance. Okay, now that you're back on tripod, I'm going to go ahead and do this. I'm going to quickly wipe this lens off. Let's make sure that you can see alright as I sprayed some brake clean on it. Alright, here we go. Time for some new brake shoes to be installed. Now there is a primary and a secondary brake shoe. The primary shoe is usually bigger and it goes towards the rear. So, what we're going to do first. Lay these out, like so. So, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get my anti-seize and we're going to lubricate these areas here. These bosses, I think, is what I heard them being called. This is where the shoes are going to ride. This way, we know it'll have a nice, happy beginning. I don't want too much because you don't want this stuff getting all over your shoes and causing them to get all funny from oil, because you're not supposed to get oil on these shoes. Alright, so that should do. Just got a nice coating on here so they have a nice, good chance of seating in correctly. Then ahead and get this side on first. I'll put this metal thing through this hole. I'll hook these in here. I forgot how in the world these things even go in here. I think this just goes in there like that. I think that goes in like that. Yeah, that's how that works. Apologize, guys. There's really not a whole lot to see at the moment, not without a camera guy. I give you guys, like Eric the car guy, when he used to do this stuff, without a camera guy, I don't know how he did it, so it's a pain in the neck, to be completely frank with you. Alright, so that side's in. Now I'm going to try to get this other spring in here. Figure out how in the world this is going to go in here. I'll figure that part out here. Now we want to make sure this self-adjuster here is nice and clean. So I got anti-seize in there, but it tends to just get all dirty. So we're going to spray this out here with some brake cleaner. We're going to clean this all out because we don't need this to be all not working, you know. So all I'm doing right now is I'm just cleaning the self-adjuster because we don't want a bunch of crud in it. We want it to nice and clean. Alright, so now that's nice and clean. All I'm going to do is I'm just going to use a little bit of actual penetrating grease. That's all I'm going to use on this, just to give it a nice happy beginning. Now unwind this a little bit and put some penetrating grease on it too. That way everything works nice and smooth. And I'm going to dry it off. I don't want penetrating grease all over my new shoes, brake shoes. Okay. So now I gotta figure out how in the world this. Trying to figure out which way these springs go on here. I don't believe that's the right way. This is the fun part. I absolutely get on my nerves doing this part, but this part that's got to be done. I always seem to manage to get this spring put on wrong, so I guess we're going to find out if it's on there right here momentarily. Okay, so we're getting there. Like I said, guys, I apologize. There's not too much to see at the moment. I know you're missing out on probably crucial information here, but this is a lot harder than it looks to do and try to, you know, record at the same time. So trust me when I say this, it's not hard to do, but you don't have somebody as a camera guy, it just becomes pretty much impossible. We're getting there. Feeling that's not going to be the last time you hear me say ow. I don't remember this spring being such a pain in the neck the last time to do, but I know we'll go with that. Be in the right position now. Hey, the spoon actually worked the way it was supposed to work. So, Okay. Everything is back together. Now, before we can even get into bleeding and putting the drums on and everything else needs to be done, what we'll have to do is we're going to have to go ahead and do the other side. So I'm going to go ahead and get the other side done, and then I'm going to come back to this side, and then I'll show you how to properly bleed the brakes since we had to open up the brake line system on it. So first thing we're going to do, though, I'm going to get a new brake drum, get some brake cleaner, clean up the inside of the brake drum, and then we're going to just slide it on here, and then it'll be there and ready to go. So until that, and basically that's pretty much all that there is to see on this, and then I'll pick back up once I get the other side done and we're ready to actually bleed the system. Okay guys, so hang tight and we'll be back shortly.